And here we are, we almost arrived. Look, you can see the Sea of Galilee from here. The Sea of Galilee in Hebrew has the name Kinneret. Kinneret because it looks like a violin or like a harp. So we gave it this name, Kinneret. Kinneret, Sea of Galilee, synonymous, the same place. So in modern times, this was the main water source, the main source for drinking water, I should say, until the desalination plants were built. So we were very cautious of how much water there is in the Kinneret. And as students, we had a map of the Sea of Galilee in our class, and we used to draw lines to follow, how high up they are. And so can we consume water freely, or do we need to be mindful? And the Sea of Galilee is like a basin, 240 meters below sea level. And if you remember, I told you that this sea and the Dead Sea are twins. They were formed around the same time, but because there's a lot more water in the form of rainfall in this area, as you can see, all the vegetation around, that looks very different than what we saw in the Dead Sea, where nothing grows. So this sea received a lot of fresh water, and it is fed by the River Jordan that enters from the north, and therefore over the course of many years the water here became fresh water, sweet, drinkable, unlike what happened in the Dead Sea. On the left hand side we see the modern city or the modern town of Migdal. Migdal sounds like Magdala. We are going to visit Magdala, which was the town where Mary of Magdalene came from. Mary Magdalene is Mary of Migdal, or Mary of Magdala. So next to every old city that keeps the name, we build a new city with the same name or very similar name. This is on the right hand side the Arbel Cliff. And if you turn your gaze to the top, you can see some caves. So during the reign of King Herod, the king builder that everybody hated so much, that nobody names their children, their sons, Herod. There's no such thing in the Jewish world. You may name your son Saul, David, Solomon, but never Herod. So anyway, some of the rebels hid in those caves up there. And King Herod sent his soldiers, and they literally dropped boxes made of wood with soldiers in them, and kind of had them fight with the men hiding in the caves. He was a very cruel king. On the right hand side, again, olives. Olives are very popular. And we are approaching. Soon we'll be able to see the city of Tiberias far to the right, named after the Emperor Tiberius. And almost in front of us is the old town of Magdala. Right in front of us. I can already see the sign Magdala and the archaeological excavations. This is where we are going to finish our schedule today, in Magdala for Sunday service. So it's going to happen between 5 and 6 this afternoon. So we are going to come back here. But we still have some fun activities beforehand. We have boat sail on the Sea of Galilee, and we have lunch and 2 interesting sights before that. And around the Sea of Galilee are many kibbutzim, many of those agricultural settlements. They found the best spots, and as you can see, the land is dark, full of minerals, very fertile, and so many orchards of fruit trees are here. This, for example, are mangoes on the right-hand side. We just passed them by, and some palm dates, peaches, bananas. If we call the area of the Dead Sea dates land, this is banana land. Citruses on the left-hand side. Here are the bananas on the right-hand side and on the left. And if we look straight ahead, you can see those barren hills or mountains. This is what the first pioneers encountered when they came here in the 19th century. No wonder Mark Twain, when he wrote a journal after his pilgrimage to the Holy Land, reported that there's nothing in the Galilee. We walked for an entire day, we couldn't see a soul. And when he wrote down his report about Jerusalem, he said, Jerusalem smells, oh, what a horrible place. He was impressed, but in a very negative way, that the land was unattended. So more of those mangoes on the right-hand side. So basically you see everything that you see around you was achieved in less than 150 years. All the agriculture, all the infrastructure, the building, the national carrier of water, everything is in less than 150 years. And that to me is a clear indication that we have some divine intervention here. We couldn't have done it by ourselves. Especially when you take into consideration that the situation was not calm politically, but rather we had a big war every about 10 years. So the odds were always against us. Two more kibbutzim on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you're going to see a massive factory, or it's actually a plant. This is the first station of the water when they make their way from the Sea of Galilee and then distributed on the national carrier and then taken all over Israel. So on the right-hand side, you can see Atar Sapir or Sapir site. It's of course very well protected, high security over here. Not everybody can get in. After all, this is the main source for drinking water. Here it's being pumped out. And as you can see, the local stone is different, looks different. This is basalt, black stone. So where did this basalt come from? So the stones that you see around you, we are still on the Galilee Mountains, and the Galilee Mountains are limestone, like the Jerusalem Mountain. Different composition of the lime, different amount of calcium, but it doesn't matter, still it's defined as limestone. However, there is a coat on it, like some black stones that are spread around all over. And they came from the other side of the Sea of Galilee. If you take a look to the right-hand side, you see that there's a plateau over there. These are the Golan Heights, the famous Golan Heights that were a part of Syria less than 60 years ago, right? 1967, during the 6 Days War, when Israel had to face some serious fights, serious battles in different fronts, right? So in the south it was against Egypt. In the north it was against Lebanon. In the east it was Jordan. And northeast was Syria. So the Syrians up to 1967 literally had their feet in the water, in our drinking water. But thank God Israel managed to pull through, and in 6 days tripled its size, took the Golan Heights. So the Golan Heights traditionally is the plot for the 2.5 tribes that we mentioned yesterday. Reuven, Gad, and half of the Menashe. And this is Tabcha. We are going to enter into this site. Tabcha is a mispronunciation of Heptapegon. Look at the rock on the left-hand side, right by the entrance. You see Heptapegon. In Greek, it means 7 springs. So in this area, under the water of the Sea of Galilee, there is a flow of 7 springs that are a little warmer and a little saltier, and that attracts fish. So the fishermen knew that there are fish around here. So they gathered into this area, and as we know, many of Jesus' disciples were fishermen. They gathered in this area, and we are going to go into this Benedictine, Lutheran or Benedictine church, I'm not sure. I'm going to find out in a minute. And see the rock on which everything is built. So first the Byzantine church, and later the Crusaders had an addition to it, and the modern days church who's standing here. We are interested in what's underneath the altar, which is the original rock on which Jesus performed this miracle.